walk on the woo-woo side with me. My name is Michelle Douglas and I am on a mission to help you to step into your power so that you can create the life you desire. Visit me at empoweredlifeprograms.com to learn more. Hello, it's Michelle here, and today we're going to be talking about one of the main things that keeps people stuck, and that is often secondary gains. So secondary gains are tricky little creatures, and I'm going to explain what happens with them, give you some examples, and then explain how you can step out of them. So why they keep you stuck is because they keep you in that potential benefit of staying in a situation that you're not happy about. So it's defined as, a secondary gain is defined as the advantage that occurs that's secondary to a problem. So that problem could relate to health, career, relationships, and so on. So here are some examples, and there's an infinite number of examples, and these are just some that I may have come across myself. And I want you to also remember that a lot of these secondary gains are actually very much subconscious. They're not a conscious thing. So let's start with physical illness. If you're someone who's always sick, you've always got something wrong with you, your secondary gain could be that your family give you a lot more attention, a bit more pampering, and that is your way of receiving that. So by being sick, you're going to be pampered and cared for, and so that's one way. And you may actually feel significant as you identify by whatever the illness is. Another example for that would be someone who's got some form of chronic or terminal illness. They'll join a group on Facebook, for example, for people with that same illness, and it's their way of connection with each other. So they have that connection, they have that significance that they're with people who are just like them, so to speak. So when I was working with one particular client, she was chronically ill. No one had worked out what was actually wrong with her. Now, I sat her down and I said to her, okay, I want you to clear your mind and I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to give me the very first answer that comes into your mind. So I asked her, what is the very worst thing that could happen if you were to get better? And she blurted out, my parents will die. Now, she knew as well as I did, or she was surprised at what came out of her mouth, and she knew logically, rationally that was not true. But there was obviously something going on deep down inside her that had created this belief and this fear that had kept her sick for years. So yeah, really interesting. But I should mention also, though, that anyone who is chronically ill, well, not everyone who is chronically ill will have a secondary gain going on, although it's very common. And it's obviously rarely conscious, like I've mentioned. Consciously, these people want to be well, but there's something deep down, just like my client with her subconscious or her irrational subconscious fear is preventing them from healing. So that's another one. Weight loss. Now, it can be tricky because there's so many reasons behind why they're struggling with their weight. And some people are eating what they think is the right foods and exercising regularly, but the body can hold on to the excess weight for a number of reasons. But if there is a secondary gain going on, the excess weight could be to stay hidden. So if they're overweight and unattractive, then people won't notice them. Now, this reason is often in response to some earlier trauma in their life. So that's that. Staying overweight is preventing them from being seen by someone who could potentially attack them in some way. Another one could be where you've got someone who's struggling with the diet, and the secondary gain is that they get to keep eating food they love to eat and they don't want to give it up. So that's one, and that's probably a little more conscious than the other. And with exercise, staying home, being able to stay home warm and cozy instead of having to go out and push their body and potentially experience some physical exertional pain is their secondary gain. They get to stay home instead and relax. Okay, so that's one. So relationships. So staying in a toxic relationship, and I have been there. So one of the reasons for that could be money often keeps money often keeps us stuck. So you may find that you're staying in a relationship because of the financial impact if you left. So the secondary gain is you keep your financial situation more stable. There's also the better the devil you know scenario. So if you stay, at least you know what you're getting, even if it's not what you want. Or it could be that you don't want to go out into the dating world again. So staying where you are means you don't have to. And there's, gazillions of other secondary gains around relationships and toxic ones in particular, but I'd be here all day, so we'll stop there. And many of them were my own. Job or career. So if you stay where you are, even if you hate your job, you're still maintaining some form of financial security. Because what if you were to leave and end up in a job that sucks even more out of your soul than your present one? Okay, so that's another one. So how do you undo what keeps you stuck? So it's always, what keeps you stuck is almost always coupled with the secondary gain. So although you may believe that your reason for staying where you are is for a legitimate reason, or maybe you're not even aware of what's driving your inability to work through what keeps you stuck, okay? So to understand what keeps you stuck, there's a little process that you can follow to see if you've got anything going on subconsciously that you may not be aware of. So the first thing is to quieten your mind, empty it of any thoughts. You're about to ask yourself a question, and as soon as you ask that question, the answer will immediately pop into your mind. Like not even a delay, it'll be like bam, straight in. Write that answer down before you've had any time to think about that answer. And so the question is, what is the worst thing that could happen if your situation around, and insert the problem here, was instantly resolved? Review your answer. So write it down straight away without thinking of the answer. Review the answer and see if you can pick up on any secondary gains around that. Is that a secondary gain that you've got going on? Like, could you have that belief that your parents will die if this is resolved? Something like that, or maybe something not as dramatic, but there could be something there. Once you've worked out what the secondary gain is, determine if it's something you're prepared to let go. And if you are, then you may benefit from doing the free Manifestation Decoded course, which we have on offer at the moment through alignedwisdom.com/decode. And that'll help you to create some positive changes in your life. But of course, the process is easier if you're working through that with a coach. But for now, I hope that's helped you to gain some clarity, and go check out Manifestation Decoded. Won't cost you a cent, maybe a little bit of time, but that's about it. And I look forward to seeing you there.